Right? Do you agree? Tell your neighbor it's good to be in church. It's good to be in a balanced church where you are fed balanced diet. Can we appreciate the leadership of Calvary Bible Church, our overseer, his wife, Pastor Abraham, and the entire pastorate? Thank you for the rich word that you will bring to us every now and again. Thank you for the opportunity you've given to each and every one of us to learn and to share. Okay, if you were in church last week Sunday, can I see your hand? All right. If you were not in church and you didn't watch online, can I see? Okay, I'm trying to determine the extent to which I need to do a recap. Let me see if I can quickly run through 5 minutes of a recap. So we started talking about retirement planning last week, and we defined retirement planning as the actions and the decisions necessary, to achieve your post-working life goals. So you have goals, and then you have post-working life goals. Like Pastor said, there's a time that you will retire from active service. What will you be doing at that point in time? How will you ensure that you are earning income to cater for your lifestyle? How do you want to secure your current lifestyle even in your retirement life? I hope you get that. So how are you living now? Do you want to continue living that way when you're retired? And then we quickly talked about the threats to successful retirement, that, so many things are contending with a successful retirement life. In this part of the world, we don't have social security. Our pension arrangement is good, but it's still quite unstable. Inflation is also biting really hard. And there are also internal factors that, are dependent on you. Like some of us, we don't have a retirement plan. You don't even have a plan what you want to do. Some of us, we have a plan, but we started planning quite late. And then for some of us, we are setting aside too little for our retirement. I'll quickly jump to another thing we talked about. We try to emphasize what retirement planning is not. We've defined what retirement planning is, the actions and the decisions you need to take, for you to live a successful post-working life. And even though some said that I hit a raw nerve, but a number of people agree with me when I said that your children are not your retirement plan. That was one of the things we said last week. Are you still angry with me about that? Thank you. But you agree? Okay. We also said that reliance on black tax, that is, expecting family and friends who you have supported in the past, and they are now doing well, expecting that they will automatically take care of you in your old age is not a plan. And that's why some people unconsciously have an entitlement mentality, because they have contributed. They've done this, they've done that. They stopped their lives and sent their siblings to school, this and that. And then they expect subconsciously, most of the time, that these people will come, and be there for you when you're retired. But it's not Nollywood. We see it around us. Do you see that happening? You see a situation where they love you, but they just have to live their own lives. And the journey of life is a selfish one. A good friend of mine says that every time. Your business is not a retirement plan. Rather, it is your business continuity, that is a plan. Your business in itself is not a plan. If for that business to run, it starts and ends with you. If your business fully depends on you, then it is not a retirement plan, because at the point when you retire, you may not be available to keep running that business. So what happens? So we need to learn to build structures around our business such that it can stand without us. So if you run a business and until you go there to open your doors by yourself, or you have to pick all your customer calls and all of that, then it is not part of your retirement plan. It is just something you are doing at the moment to fetch you income. Then we also talked about quick fix investments, sharply investments. Bring it today, you earn 10% monthly, and then you earn 120% returns in a year. You hear of ridiculous, promises, and you're wondering. That is not a retirement plan. And you shouldn't just build your life around such things because they don't last. So allow me to quickly jump into today. We've laid the foundation, we've defined, and we'll be doing a lot more of what you and I should be doing to have a successful retirement plan. So the process. Can I have my slides? Yes, thank you. What do you need to do? Number one, set goals. Please tell your neighbor, set goals. So I tried to address this at the financial and the non-financial level. We know that for a successful retirement life, it's not just about money. There are so many other aspects. Your health, your relationships, your family, so many other things make up that non-financial aspect. So set goals, income goals, investment goals, potential income goals. So what do you want to do with your life at this certain age? So if you are a civil servant or you actively run your business and you know that with age, it gets to a time that you may not be actively available to run that business. What are the other things you are thinking of doing? We'll talk more in details about that, but you need to set goals for yourself. By the time I am 60, I want to have this. By the time I am 60, I want to have that. Remember last week I mentioned that a rule of thumb is that in your retirement life, you are likely to need about 70% of your current annual income as your annual retirement expense. Remember I said that. So just do the maths and set the goal. What do I earn monthly now? If I earn X amount now, 70% of that is likely what I would need as my running expense when I'm retired. So do that math. Let's assume you retire at age 60. And there's something we call longevity estimation. How long do you think you're going to live after 60? Rule of thumb, we use 30 years. So 30 years, 70% of my current income, do that math and set that goal. By the time I'm retiring at 60, I should have this amount. So I'm not talking of that amount sitting idle as cash, but you should have that amount as investment such that it can yield income for you and it can sustain you in retirement, and you don't have to depend on children, on family, or neighbors, or church, or anybody for you to have a beautiful retirement life. It's important that you evaluate. The second point, evaluate. Where am I currently? I've addressed that a bit. Assess your current position. To yourself, be true. I mean, if we lie to ourselves outside, when you get back home, in your room, in your corner, you owe yourself the truth, right? Where am I now? So we talked about 70% of current income. For some of us, the income is not even anything to write home about. So where you are is, how do I even increase my income? How do I earn more? What are the other streams of income I can tap into to earn more so that I can, build for tomorrow? Action plan. So in talking the non-financial aspect of evaluation, where are you regarding your health, for example? What's your health status? Do you even know? Do you carry out any form of medical checkup? Do you know your statistics? Do you know your numbers? When people are asking, give me your history, give me your medical history, do you have anything to say? How often do you even check? And some of these things are not expensive. If only we can just put our mind to it. So a medical checkup is part of your evaluation. Action plan. what needs to be done? So when you've evaluated, you've appraised your situation, this is where I am. What do I need to do? The decision to do something about where you are and the actual following through to do those things is what will take you out of where you are to where you want to be. Are you following me? The decisions you take and the consistency, the commitment to follow through those decisions will take you from where you are to where you want to be. So write out your plans. Some of us, we just need to even tidy up our documentation. If I get into your, do you have a space where you keep certain vital documents? Or you have it all mixed up. Business is mixed with personal. You know, your bank account today, you are withdrawing money to make soup from your business account. Tomorrow, it's just all over the place. That's not proper. And that's not how to, build a proper structure that can withstand the test of time. And of course, you need to keep reviewing these things over and over again. So let's quickly, now we're looking at retirement, and I said there's the financial and the non-financial aspect of it. So let's quickly talk about a healthy retirement. I'm not a medical doctor, but if there's anything I know that health is the very beginning of wealth. It really doesn't matter the quantum of money that you have. If one is not in good health, it's difficult to enjoy the wealth. So as you take care of your assets today, as you take your car for servicing, as you take care of your home, every now and again you repaint, you do this, you do that. Are you doing that to your health? Are you checking on yourself? Do you love yourself that much to care for your body such that it's going to follow you through that journey? You know the journey is far. We agreed, right? 60 years plus 30, that's 90. It's a long time. Is your body in a shape that it can stay together faithfully with you for that length of time? And it's never too late to make amendments. What do you eat? What do you consume? Are you fit? If we hear a noise now from outside, some terrifying noise or whatever, and we all need to take to our feet and run, where can you run to? How far can you go? Ask your neighbor, how far can you go? I know, God forbid, yes, God forbid, but just, So being healthy is about just being fit. Do you know what your body mass index is? So the little things that you should pay attention to. Mental exercises. If there's something that you should guard against, it is your mind. You should guard jealously, It is your mind. We will not suffer in our old age. You hear things like dementia, things like memory loss and all of that happening at an old age. And some of these things can actually be corrected. They can be avoided with a healthy lifestyle. Do you engage your mind? Do you use your mind? How are you sharpening your memory? Are you being conscious? Are you being intentional about some of those things that you do? And of course, a positive attitude is part of a healthy life. Let me run. Another aspect of retirement that we want to look at is you living a productive retirement life. That is deploying your skills, your passion, and your purpose. We're talking about the non-financial, which would eventually lead to the financial. So we've talked about a healthy retirement, right? A productive retirement. If you're going to retire from active service at age 60, maybe, or for some of us where we work, maybe age 55, or for some of us, like I said, the business you do, you just can't continue to do that business at a certain age because of what it requires, right? What else will you be doing? When you retire, you can retire and still be active, meaning that you are still actively generating income, you are active, you have duties that you report to. while in retirement. And what are some of those things? Consultancy, teaching, coaching, brokerage, volunteering. But it is not in retirement that you decide. So I've had clients, I'm having, okay, so 2 years ago, I was with a client the client has retired this year now. And 2 years ago, she was saying, so what am I going to do in retirement? She was with the Lagos State Service, or was it federal? I'm not sure now. And she was saying, what am I going to do in retirement? I've been thinking, somebody invited me to come and sell one of these this multi-level marketing, whatever, and I just, she was just, at that point in time, 2 years ago, that's 58, was when she was trying to decide what will she do. It's pretty late trying to decide at that point in time. Because what will happen is that some of us will retire and will get lump sums of money from maybe pension, gratuity, whatever it is, from maybe where you're working. And then all sorts of ideas will start flying to you. Somebody will tell you, no, put 10 million in this and that, and then all sorts of ideas. And then you are now trying to make up your mind. And you are likely to hear the loudest of the voices, not necessarily the soundest. Do you agree? So it's important that you plan that now. Imagine you are at age 35, 40, and then you're already telling yourself, okay, if I retire, by the time I'm retired at 60, I think I can go into lecturing. So lecturing is one of the things you can do that allows you to still do that for, I think, up until 75 or so, yes. So, but it's not when you retire at 60, you just show up at a university and say, I'm here, take me on. No. What do you need to do? You remember what we said about evaluate. If your goal is that by the time I'm 60, I want to be able to lecture. I want to do that as a way of being active in retirement. So ask yourself, what do I need to do now? At 40, what you have is a Bachelor of Science. Then you need to go for your master's, and then you need to do a PhD, and then you need to be vocal in that your line, in that your area. People need to know that this is who she is, this is who he is. You need to be a thought leader. That is how you will attract premium as an individual. And then by the time you are retiring at 60, you've actually prepared yourself to move into productive retirement. Are we following me? So that's what I'm trying to say. So it can be anything. It can be coaching. It can be whatever it is that you want to do as an activity while in retirement. It is not when you retire that you begin to think of it. Now, perhaps you're at that stage where you're about to retire. So I know I'm speaking to a mixed audience. It's not too late. You can still seek counsel, and understand what is best for you to do at this point in time. But you are better off if you take some of those decisions early. Some of you, what you need to do is to take a second look at your CV and ask yourself, in 5 years' time, what will this CV look like? Take a good look at your business. Just step back as if you're a visitor to your business and begin to ask yourself pertinent questions. If this business is going to continue and will cross into the next generation as a successful family business, what do I need to put in place now? We hear of successful family businesses in developed countries that it is at the tender age, as part of the overall plan that the founder has, will be how children will be plugged into that business at an early age. So your children have holiday jobs. As teenagers, you have to report at the factory. You have to see how things are being done. And then when the children graduate from school, they are sent, to do a similar job elsewhere. So they don't come into their family business shoulders high, like this place belongs to my father. So all of those things are part of the succession planning you should be thinking of for your business as an overall package, as you think through your retirement. I need to run. So coming back to financials, we've talked about a healthy retirement, a productive retirement, and now financials. What can I do? How do I accumulate the 70% estimated annual income that I need to keep aside in retirement for my expenses? So I have, different assets, but I have arranged these assets, so that you can see the risk and the return trade-off. Please tell your neighbor, risk and return trade-off. So, generally speaking, the higher the risk of an investment, the higher the returns, right? And why is that so? If you're going to put money in something risky, then you want it to be worth your while. If you make it, you want to make it big, right? But of course, because it's high risk, you also know that you can lose your money, right? So that's why it is high risk. High risk because of the nature of that investment. You can lose your funds, but it has high returns. And then you have low risk, conservative, low risk. There's no risk. Your capital is guaranteed, but the returns are low. So what is important for us as we set aside, as we build investment towards a successful retirement life, is to have a balanced portfolio. A balanced portfolio. So you have a mix. Let's quickly take a look at some of those assets. Where is cash? Cash. Where is cash? High risk or low risk? Low risk. High return or low return? Why is that so? Okay, all things being equal, cash is low risk. Cash in your bank or in a safe bank. So I don't mean cash under your bed or something. That's when it becomes high risk. So if you leave money as cash, yes, it's safe. Maybe you have First Bank, Union Bank. I use old conservative banks. Let me just leave my money there, JJ. But there's hardly any return on the money. So at the end of the day, you are not able to hedge against inflation. Inflation is at 17 point something now, and then your money is not earning you anything. How do you hope, to achieve your post-retirement lifestyle? Real estate is where? Somewhere in the middle, right? High returns typically, so it's moderate risk because there are so many factors surrounding real estate. So we can't go much into these details, but what this is just trying to tell you is that there are different things you need to put your money into. Okay, before I leave this slide, let me just quickly say this. I mentioned diversification, right? So what I'm trying to say is that when you put money in a particular kind of investment or asset, try not to put all of your eggs in one basket. That's what diversification is saying. So let's take an example of let's assume that you are into real estate, right? That's the business you run. So you buy and sell houses, you help people to, real estate advisory and all of that. That's what you do. Because you are into real estate as your primary business and source of income, you should consciously invest outside of that business in other things as well. Do you understand? That is what diversification is about. You are trying to reduce risk. So in a period where the real estate market is down or where there's a lull in the market and all of that, your business is affected, but other investments that you've made, maybe in equities, maybe in fixed income, you've bought bonds, or maybe you've invested in another kind of business that is probably not you running it, that is not correlated in terms of the risk, you are better off. Because when one is down, another one is up. So that's the essence of diversification. And as you appraise yourself, ask yourself, where am I invested in? What business am I doing? What sector? What, so you need to look at all of those things. So quickly, we'll look at a few of these examples. The money market. So I'm trying to bring it down to the very basics. If all you want to do, rising from today, is to decide that I want to set aside X amount of money, weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever, so that I can consciously build investments towards my retirement. If that is all you want to do today, then you can consider some of this investment that I'm talking about. You can consider investing in the money market. That's short-term investment, money, in the money market. You're putting your money in the money market. So money market is short-term investment, and it can be issued by the government in form of treasury bills. It can be you buying a mutual fund from any of the licensed asset managers, but it's you actively engaging your cash. So if you buy, you may buy a mutual fund plan, for example, that what you're doing is to set aside 50,000 naira monthly, or whatever it is. Don't forget that we said set a goal, right? Set goals. And we said you should do what? Evaluate where you are. And then you should take action. Okay, so money market instruments are typically investments with high liquidity. So if you need your money, there's no story. So it's very liquid. That means it can be easily converted back to your cash and given back to you. So that's what we mean by high liquidity. When an investment has low liquidity, it means that it's difficult for you to quickly recoup your cash. So can you give me an example of a low liquidity investment? Something that is low in liquidity, so you cannot easily and quickly convert back to cash. An example? Yeah? Real estate, thank you. So real estate, because if you need money and you have a house, your house is worth 50 million naira, but you need 5 million naira, maybe to take advantage of another opportunity or one thing or the other. You can't remove the roof of your house and say that value is 5 million and you sell it. Neither can you remove your doors. So it's not liquid. But let me just skip all of that. But basically, what are the examples of money market investment? Treasury bills, commercial papers issued by companies, mutual funds are typical examples of money market investments. Whereas the capital market is for longer term investment. So if you want to set money aside for a longer period because you are building for retirement, you can consider the capital market. Examples of investments in the capital market would be you buying equities, buying shares. That's an example. I know some people are raising their faces at me, wondering, who buys shares now? Yes, it's an example of a long-term investment because over the years, given a 5-year cycle, the equities market has been proven to outperform other types of investments, asset classes over a 5-year period. Every 5 years, if you look at that. So, but all of these things require you speaking with a professional. It's just like if you have a headache, you can take paracetamol and you'll be fine, right? But if you have a headache and it persists, that's why on the sachet of the paracetamol you are taking, they say if symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. So you agree that in building and planning for your retirement, it is not a one-day job. So it's a journey that you need to be very intentional about. So don't treat it as a one-stop quick fix. So try to talk to a professional that can give you some advice on what you need to do after you are done evaluating your situation. So examples of capital market investment, like I said, equities. You know, some of us have heard of government bonds. The federal government issues what we call a savings bond every month, you know, and the minimum amount is just like, I think, 5,000 naira. So you are more or less like putting that money aside. You are borrowing the government your money, and then they are paying you returns every quarter. That's what the savings bond is about. And then for some it's for 3 years, for some it's for 2 years. You know, as you put that money aside, you earn your interest on it every quarter. Every quarter means once in 3 months. They pay back your interest. So why am I dwelling on some of these things? Some of these things are the information that you should have at your disposal. So money that you leave idle in your bank is not going to help you. It's not adding to you. It's just sitting as dead weight in your bank. You have to deploy whatever asset you have to ensure that it is fetching you additional income. And you have to be very deliberate about it. So real estate is also another asset class. But what you can do is, because for real estate, it's a lot more capital intensive, so you need to have more money to be able to take position in a real estate investment. So what I usually would advise is that start from where you are. If all you can do is set aside 10,000 every week, every month, start by doing that. So if you know that to make real estate investment, you need, say, 1 million naira to buy a certain plot of land somewhere, or you need 2 million, the 1 million naira is not going to show up suddenly, right? You have to be intentional about building it up. So with a savings bond, with mutual funds, with some of these money market things that I've talked about, that will allow you to set aside money weekly, monthly, gradually, would help you. So if you do that consistently, it gets to a point where you can now then take that lump money you've been able to set aside in that investment to now then do something else, like position in real estate. Are you following me? So don't let it overwhelm you. Some of us, because we hear of all these things and you say, but I don't have this money, I don't have this kind of money, and then you don't do anything at all. Start from where you are. I can assure you, wherever level you are, there's something you can do. For some of us, it is investing in ourselves. Remember what I said about a productive retirement life. So for some of us, the investment you need to do, the setting aside the 10,000, 20,000 every now and again, is so that you can go pick up a form for a master's program, so that you can be better equipped for tomorrow. It is when you are better equipped that your value will increase. When your value increases, you are able to attract more income, because people only pay for what is valuable, right? So if all you are carrying around is an OND certificate, and you know that the post-retirement lifestyle that you are dreaming of, it doesn't match, it doesn't correlate with that OND certificate, that's all you're carrying around, and there's nothing else that you're doing. You need to go back to investing in yourself so that you can be a better version of yourself and attract the premium that you want to. So for some of us, it's not about even setting money to save or anything. It's about seeing yourself as that investment, that asset that needs to be invested in, so that the returns can be improved. Let us round up with this. Psalm 127 verse 1 talks about, except God building a house, the builders do what? They build in vain. And except he watches over a city, the watchmen stay awake in vain. So I just want to encourage you this morning, whatever level you are, whatever it is that your situation is, you need to understand that it all starts with you having a close relationship with God. Is he in charge, or are you in charge? Who exactly is in charge concerning your life? Are you the one? Or have you handed it over to God? You have your plans, you have your dreams, you have your aspirations, your health. Have you handed it all over to God to take control, to lead you? The steps you need to take, the decisions you need to make, the grace to carry through those decisions. It is not going to be by your power, it's going to be by His grace. So you need to bear that in mind. Also, let me leave you with this. It's important that you are truthful to yourself. Be truthful to yourself. Even if the whole world is deceiving you, liking your post on Instagram and following you on Facebook when you know you are not going anywhere, be truthful to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. How do you perceive yourself? And then fix what needs to be fixed. So you can't be comparing yourself. I'm rounding up now. Comparing yourself, so you are in your 40s and you have friends whose children are already in the university. And then you are in your 40s, you are not married. Or you just got married and you're still trying to have a child and all of that. Your situation and circumstances are different. So when your friend is making certain decisions and buying certain things for the gram, you know that your journeys are different. So you should be truthful to yourself and face your lane. Don't follow the bandwagon until we stop following the bandwagon and choose to run our own race and face our destinies. We will always just be chasing after shadows. Stop it. Admire good things and move on. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it because you know where you are going. Don't forget where you are going. And if you don't remember anything from these 2 sessions that we've had,